Yeah, we're going to continue talking about the enhancements made to the grid component if you have a checkbox column. And in this case here we have a grid that is based on a SQL table, and you can see here that this table has a primary key with two columns in it, first name and last name. We've also gone ahead here and turned on the checkbox column, and so now and also we've got a button here that's doing a Ajax callback into a function called foo, and we've put a debug1 statement inside foo. So let's go ahead now and run the grid, and we'll go ahead here and check, say, the first two columns there for Janet Rebo and David Mesner, and then press the button to do the callback. So what we see here is e.checkboxFilter has the filter, the where clause, that will select the records that have been checked. So we checked two records, so you can see therefore that the where clause is has two parts. Basically, here's the first part for the first checked record, and then there's the second part for the second checked record. But each part of the where clause has two segments. This is the first primary key field, and that's the second primary key field. Then the next interesting property in E is the checkbox filter arguments XML. This is the XML version of all of these arguments which have been populated for you. So you can see here is the XML for the SQL arguments object, and you can see there's Janet for the first argument, and then Rebo for the second argument, and then David, and then Mesner. And the final property inside E that we want to talk about here is the filter arguments encoded property over here. And this is a string that looks like this. You can see instead of being a CRLF delimited string, it's delimited with /n, which is the JavaScript encoding for a character return line feed. And this encoded string looks like this. It has the argument value, which is Janet, then three pipes, then the argument type, which is a character field, and then the argument name, which is pk value underbar r underbar 1. And the reason that we give you this this property pre-computed for you is that this is the syntax that the grid filter set method takes. It takes this method takes three arguments: the filter, the order, which in this case is nothing, and then the arguments, which are encoded using this syntax over here. So if our custom Ajax callback returns this JavaScript command, you can see here the JavaScript command that this callback is returning now is the grid filter set method. If we go ahead now and we actually run it, we'll see that we've now filtered the grid on those two checked rows. But filtering on checked rows is easier than this function foo would suggest, because there's a new method now, as we discussed in an earlier video. So let's go ahead now and add a new button to this grid to filter just on the checked rows. So I'll go here and put in a new button, and then I'll go to my JavaScript, and we need to switch to text mode, and now we need to call a new method of the grid. So I'm going to go there and say insert grid method, and I'm going to just go ahead here and search on the word checked, and you can see there's the new method, filter checked rows. So I'll just click on that, click on the save button over there, and now go over to working preview, and let's go and choose records number 4, 5, 12, 13, and 15, and click the button to execute the filter. And you can see now we've searched on the checked rows, and if there's no rows checked when I click the button, we go back to the original selection of rows. So that shows you some more of the new features that are associated with the checkbox column in a grid. I hope that you found that useful. Thanks very much.